guys, MCU Collector here with another video for the day, and this is only the second video. There may be a third one if I can get to it, but here we have the Hasbro Marvel Legends Series Ultimate Riders, Marvel 80 years, the 80th anniversary of Marvel. Here we have the X-Men, the Professor X with hover chair, and the Shadow King Build-A-Figure head. So I'm very excited to get this. This is one of the most anticipated figures of the year, in my opinion. Something we've been waiting for forever. We finally have, and I just got this in today, and I cannot wait to get this open. So we'll get right to it. So we have the Marvel 80 years anniversary logo there. See, it says X-Men right in the front. We get an X cool red and yellow X logo up at the top. Side artwork looking very awesome of Professor X. Again, the package is just so large, it's hard for me to kind of go through there. Here, looking at the back of the package there, take a look at that bio. Okay, and the bio reads X-Men, Professional Charles Xavier. Professional? Should say Professor, right? Professional Charles Xavier, better known as Professor X, is a highly gifted telepath and scientific genius who develops the Cerebro device to aid in the ability to control and manipulate psionic abilities. Speaking of Cerebro, go check out my Instagram account, because there you'll see an awesome dio built by Dope Toys New York. Mark, a friend of mine, he built a Cerebro dio that looks absolutely amazing. Check him out on Instagram. I'll also include a link to his Instagram down in the video description below. Pretty awesome stuff if you haven't already seen it. So really cool. So there is the UPC if you guys are interested. Without further ado, we're going to get right to it. Open this package up, put that hover chair together on video, and check out the figure. Okay guys, before I take a look at the figure, I have to show this. This is the insert inside the package, and look how awesome that is. So it's just yellow, and you can see we have Gambit there on the side. You got Beast, Jean Grey, Jubilee, Storm, Wolverine, Cyclops, Rogue is in there, and then Professor X down on there on the other end. But look at that. That is the X-Men we all grew up loving. Just an absolute awesome insert that I will be holding on to. That's not getting tossed with any of my packages. I'm going to be keeping this thing. Don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but this thing is just too good to throw away. Beautiful. Real quick before I get to the figure, just to be aware, because some people did think that there were two hover chairs in the package. Again, you have to put the hover chair together. It is two separate pieces. Here's the back. You could see that they're just cut in halves. Just wanted to clear that up for anybody that may have been confused or curious about that. Okay, so here is everything out of the package. You can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different pieces to put the hover chair together, and we have the Charles Xavier figure there. So I am not going to go over the articulation of that guy, because that is the suited body figure that we've seen multiple times with Chameleon, Coulson, Nick Fury, Tony Stark, Claw, Bruce Banner, and I don't know, whoever else. So here you can see we have the pieces. So first thing I'm going to do is put together this hover chair. So it looks like we're going to put these two pieces together here first. And they're just going to clip right on in. You can see the little different port pieces and the pegs that are going to go in. So we're just going to line it up like so. Oh, and there goes Charles Xavier. The good thing about that suited body, it doesn't really like to stand up so well. But since it's Charles Xavier, he doesn't actually have to stand up. Yeah. Anyway, so here's the back piece. We're going to slide that on in. You can see there it's going to port in there. So let's slide that. Yeah, push down into place. Pop it in there. Here we have the seat, so it looks like it goes that way, and you can see that there's a hole there down inside, and then this large piece is just going to port right on in there, and then you could see kind of the angle of how the chair is and how the pad is to know which way it's going to go. So you just slip it on in there, and there you have it. This is kind of a blanket piece that you're just going to put as Charles Xavier's in there. You're just going to kind of set this on top of him, and which I'm going to get that out. Now this blast effect is actually really cool, so let me get a little bit closer in to see this. Okay, so this blast effect, it's a nice translucent clear plastic and then a lot of white paint for the frosted look to it, so it looks like air's blowing down and hitting the ground kind of thing. And you can see that there's a lot of the sculpted parts actually of that clear plastic there, so it's really cool looking actually. Now at first when we saw images, it didn't look like it translates too well. They probably went a little bit dark on the a little too much of the white paint. A little bit more clear of a look I think would have been really nice, because then you have that airflow look to it, or it's, you know, it's kind of subtle, but regardless it's there. But anyway, so let's go ahead and pour this in. Oh, and it just kind of sits in there. And it's easily removable, so that's kind of nice that they actually did that. And then it actually has a ratcheting effect inside there, so each little turn, it's not going to make a difference with anything, but you can do that, and then that is how you get the hover chair to stand up. And then here we have the completed hover chair, and that looks awesome. It's a lot bigger than I thought it would be, which is great, because to really get the size of and get that accurate representation, they had to go with a larger size. So I really like the way that came out. Now let's check some other things out that are kind of in there, but let's take a closer look. Okay, so here we are a little bit closer in on the hover chair. So these parts slide out, and you can see that there's, you know, I don't know what it's supposed to represent, but it's just done this kind of gunmetal gray. Looks like it's kind of like a keyboard kind of thing. It's got some buttons and then a big red ball, and I don't know if that's, you know, something he's supposed to use his hand with, like old mouse type of thing. So that's pretty cool. So it just slides there. This side slides as well, and then here you kind of have like what looks like a computer screen type of thing. Same, you know, gunmetal plastic with like a speaker and some additional buttons. So that's pretty cool. You can have it that way if he's doing something with his hover chair. So I really like the way that looks. So now let's get Professor Xavier in there. So it looks like there's a lot of good leg room in there for him to just slide right on in. At first I was concerned with this body that, you know, you don't get the best, you know, leg movement in there, but it's going to work out pretty good, I think. So you just kind of slide them on in like so, and then here we have that blanket piece. So you're just going to kind of put that on to his lap, and it just gives it a nice look there. And there you have Professor Xavier, Charles Xavier, sitting in his hover chair, and you know what? That looks great. I love the way this looks. Again, one most anticipated figure of the year. I really like the way this came out. He has the open hand here for the left. I guess if you're doing it, you know, it's kind of actually hard to get his hands. The way he's positioned in there, there's no way that's not very good placement to get his hands onto those different pieces there. But, you know, you could do, you know, this kind of thing here. Here we have the Cerebro helmet. Now, oh, this white effect on it, everybody's just kind of like, what the heck? I understand what Hasbro was going for. I just don't think it translates real well, because, you know, it's supposed to be that look like he, you know, he's using Cerebro, and so it has the just that effect that you might see like in cartoons or in comic books, but I don't think it translates real well into plastic form here. The great thing about it is that this is actually removable, so you can just have the Cerebro helmet on without this effect piece, because it just doesn't look right. So if anything, I don't know if I'm going to display him with the Cerebro helmet on or not, or if I'm just going to leave it without. But it's nice that you know, that effect piece comes off, and you can see it just ports right on in the back. It's done in a nice gunmetal plastic, a little rubbery, but it's actually got a little bit hard. A little hard to it, so it actually fits on very snug, and it's not going to just kind of pop off and be loose or anything like that. So I kind of like that you get a nice good quality into it, and it's not too rubbery at all. So that is pretty awesome. Now, one other thing I'd like to get to, and I have not forgotten, is the additional piece that he comes with, the Shadow King head for the Kingpin Build-A-Figure. Now, this is going to be awesome. I actually have a second Kingpin Build-A-Figure already ready to go. so I could pop that head on. So we're just going to go like so. And here we have the Shadow King. Oh, that looks great. I really like the way that looks. Let's get in closer. Okay, here is the Shadow King Farouk, looking great. So you get nice skin tone there, and then into the purple for that Shadow King look. Now, one thing that I did not know before is that these glasses, or whatever these little goggle things are, they're actually removable, because when I took the head out, they actually came off, and I'm like, oh, what the heck? So you can kind of reveal there. You got some nice looking red eyes. There's black lines painted in there for the wrinkles of his forehead, so I like the way they did that because it translates very well into figure form. That looks very good. The paint apps on the teeth came out very, very clean. So again, Hasbro did a fantastic job on the paint apps there. And then I don't know what kind of hat this is or what it's called, but this little black piece, it kind of sticks out. And what that does, it actually helps keep these goggles or glasses on, because this thing is so thin. It's, you know, extremely pliable, and you have to like hook around the ears. But because of this piece here with the hat, it helps keep it in place. So I kind of like that way that looks. But be careful, because that thing can come off and you can lose that very, very easily. So there we have it. You have Professor X and Farouk, the Shadow King. So awesome looking. And I believe my friend Derek actually told me Farouk, the Shadow King, was the first evil mutant that Charles Xavier actually came in contact with or first met. Now, I know Legion is really based around the Shadow King and Charles Xavier's son. I forget his name. But, I stopped watching Season 2. It got too confusing for me. So I love that Hasbro went ahead and put an additional Build-A-Figure piece in this pack. Gives us an added incentive to purchase the Professor X, even though we all knew that we were going to buy it anyway, to include that Shadow King and then get people to buy 2 Build-A-Figures, or to switch out, of course, like most people probably will. But what an awesome pack. The Ultimate Riders Professor X. There is my review. Fantastic figure. A must buy for any Marvel Legends collector. If you guys have any questions, let me know down in the comments below. Hit that thumbs up if you guys liked the video. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, thank you for watching. Let me give you a nice little 360 of all the sculpted details into the hover chair. So here's the right side, looking pretty awesome. We got a little electrical panel type of thing where it's got some metallic gunmetal paint there, a little bit of yellow lines in there. It looks very good. A lot of sculpted detail. Looking at the back of the hover chair, again, a lot of sculpted detail. That line, that halfway cut line, it's very noticeable, but I understand what they had to do to get it packaged in, without changing the packaging. It's a little unfortunate, but it doesn't bother me too much. You get some marbleization in the yellow. That, again, that's not something that bothers me. I know for some of you guys, it may be an issue. Here on the left side, the sculpt work and line work is basically the same. We have that same type of electrical panel there with the metallic gunmetal and a little bit of yellow line work in there, some vents. All looks very good. I really like the way it came out. So there is the hover chair, looking awesome.